This is Mining Vessel Alpha Epsilon 831, Patient Anvil to all crafting system. Please be aware that we will be activating mining drives in 5 standard minutes at radial 47 degrees, elevation 5 degrees, and distance 1.7 AU. We recommend a safe clearance zone of radius 0.1 AU. All unshielded systems are likely to be affected within this zone. Any ships within 0.07 AU are likely to suffer physical damage. This message repeats. Rosalind flicked her hands across the communication terminal and sent the message to relay through the nearby FTR markers, and with the appropriate countdown to collection and mapping charts appended. It was extremely unlikely anyone would be out this way, but it paid to keep up your standards. Far too easy to slide into cutting corners that get someone killed, even if it could grate on the patience of her crew at times. Glancing out of the view screen, the massive red dwarf filled the sky, even now still growing as it burned off its reserves of fuel. It was almost possible to convince herself that she could see the shadows of tens of thousands of asteroids to which her crew had been diligently attaching skip drives and wrapping in containment shielding over the last couple of months. Rosalind turned to her drone chief, Miles. "Still green, Miles?" "Still green, Captain," Miles replied with a nod, after confirming on his terminal. Rosalind returned his nod and turned to James, her capture chief. "James, all ready to recover the packages?" James spent a number of quiet seconds running through several screens, including for the point defense weaponry and shielding, before looking back up at Rosalind. "Looking good here, Captain." Rosalind smiled and turned to the final member of the team, and the newest. A shiny junior-grade engineer fresh out of space camp, as the civilian training arm of the Human Space Administration was known. "How about it, Amy? Ready to crush some rocks?" Amy nodded quickly after scanning the refinery and production facility indicators one last time. "Yes, Captain, all ready." "Great work, team. Make sure to shout out if anything changes. We want Amy's first run to go smoothly, and get her on the way to earning her bronze bar the right way." Miles chuckled at that as he and James shot each other a glance before chorusing, "By the book." "Damn right by the book," Rosalind laughed back, as Amy tried to hide a smile. There was a reason why Patient Anvil had such a good safety record after all. Over 2 decades in service processing asteroid belts, and hardly a scratch on the paintwork under Rosalind's careful stewardship. The countdown ticked towards 0, as the bridge crew ran through their last-minute checklists. Finally, the alarm rang out on all decks. Rosalind activated the internal communication system. "All crew prepare for incoming material." Turning it back off, she looked up to the others. "Okay, begin sequence." "Beginning sequence," came the simultaneous reply, as their fingers triggered various activation symbols. "Flight 1.1.1, drives engaged, parameters look good," called out Miles, as the first 100 or so asteroids started to change orbit and spiral out towards them, their drives allowing them to skip along the boundary of hyperspace at a rate far higher than conventional rocket drives could ever dream. "Got them. Receiver arrays tracking steady and ready to capture," James murmured in reply, as his screen showed the skip drives deactivating, and the now inert rocks being dragged into the giant maw of the refinery ship by powerful tractor beams. After a few minutes, Amy piped up. "Processing confirms receipt of Flight 1.1.1, all stored away and been unpacked." "Great work. We'll make a spacer out of you yet." Rosalind beamed at her before continuing. "Okay, continue the sequence." 2 hours later, they had onboarded several thousand asteroids, ranging in size between a few tens of meters to kilometers in length. The first flights had already been processed. Vast amounts of metals, hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, and other elements had started to flow into storage facilities that stretched for tens of kilometers across the hull of the Patient Anvil. By the book might be slower, but it made up for it in other ways, Rosalind mused to herself. Quality provided an economy all of its own out in deep space. Suddenly, an alarm sounded, and her helmsman, Kim, shouted out. Outer system markers have been tripped. Radial 52, 10 degrees elevation, distance 15 AU and closing rapidly. Estimated course will clip the outer mining zone in approximately 30 seconds. Rosalind immediately turned to Miles. Cancel inbound flight and pause follow-ups. Deactivate their skip drives if you can. James, raise full shields. Flipping on the communication system, she sent out an all-band hyperspace communication. Unknown ship entering this system. You are on course to collide with a region of hyperspace instability. Divert immediately. Repeat, divert immediately. Shields are set to full. Impact alarms sounded on all decks, James reported. Amy cut in. Processing is locked down and crew impact procedures are underway in all sections. Flight 738 diverted. Skip drives in the zone are spinning down, but not fast enough, grunted Miles, as he wrestled with the controls. Long hours of drills allowing him to rapidly process the shutdown protocol, but not fast enough. Unknown ship entering outer mining zone in 3, 2, 1, counted out Kim, as she monitored the astrometric systems, watching the collapsing volume of hyperspatial instability, as Miles desperately shut down thousands of skip drives. There was a flash on the display, as vast amounts of energy was dispersed from the unknown ship, clipping the zone, and being ripped out of hyperspace. Kim continued. Unknown ship has crashed back into real space, Captain. Looks like it is still mostly in one piece, but I can't say their crew is likely to be doing too well, and their power readings are all over the place. Currently drifting at 300 miles a second deeper into the asteroid field. Energy dissipation will be handled by the shields, Captain. However, most of the drones will probably be fried, James commented. Miles grunted again. I've lost connection to at least half of them on that side of the field, but some are rebooting. Rosalind turned back to Miles. Keep shutting down the drives of any drones still responding, Miles. James, launch a medical and engineering team to assist. Have them tracked to a relative stop if they think the ship is stable enough. Both men acknowledged her orders as she flicked on the communicator again, selecting all of the broadcast methods available. Unknown ship, this is Alpha Epsilon 831, Patient Anvil. You have run into a subspace disruption related to mining activities. We are dispatching medical and engineering staff to render any and all assistance. If you can hear my signal, please respond. Captain? Squeaked Kim, as she shunted data from her station over to Rosalind. You might want to take a look at this. It took Rosalind no more than a glance to see what had rattled Kim. The unknown ship looked wrong. Human ships came in an almost infinite number of variations, but tended towards similar design considerations. This didn't fit. More data came in as the light lag allowed the optical sensors to catch up with the superluminal sensors, and a clearly alien ship could be seen. The first alien ship any human crew had ever seen. And she had almost blown it out of hyperspace. Fuh, she gasped, eyes wide, as she reached under her flight tunic for the key every captain carried. The bright green one. The one that only the most well-drilled crews ever saw once a year during the supposedly mandatory Xeno contact drill. The one her crew well remembered given the sharp intake of breaths and exclamations coming from the rest of the bridge crew. Pressing the key against the input panel of her console, she turned it clockwise. Captain Rosalind Zhao, activation code Alpha Romeo Tango Foxtrot 77, confirming Xeno contact protocol. The bridge was quiet, as the ship paused for a second, then replied, Confirmed. Xeno contact protocol has been activated. Initial contact beacon download has been completed and launched. Estimated flight time to closest human space agency asset, estimated to be 2 weeks, 3 days, 5 hours ship time. Secondary contact beacon has been launched and is en route to system periphery via electromagnetic passive launch. Ship is now in continuous monitoring mode and data backup, and transfer to secondary contact beacon is in effect. The bridge crew all looked at each other in shock for a few moments, before James coughed and asked, So I will let the shuttle know then? Rosalind nodded. Yes, please, James.